Good evening, and thanks for staying up with us tonight at 11. I'm Brittany Bailey. 10 TV's Richard Solomon is at the coroner's office with new details in a case that has captured national attention. Richard. And I did reach out to the attorney representing Officer Adam Coy. He says he can't comment because he hasn't seen the report and it would be reckless to do so. 8 members of the family were killed in their sleep. Prosecutors say the motive in the crimes was an obsession by the Wagner family to gain custody of Wagner's daughter, Sophia. A crash and officer-involved shooting has shut down I-270 northbound on the southeast side of the city following breaking news this morning out of South Franklinton. At least one person was hurt after gunshots were heard near Cannonbee Place. And we have breaking news tonight. Police are naming the man they say is responsible for the bombing in Nashville on Christmas Day.
Enough.
The Columbus police chief is sending a strong message, and day 3 of protests in downtown Columbus is bringing a new curfew and the National Guard. Now, protesters are still in downtown Columbus at this hour. We want to give you a quick look at that. Columbus police did declare a state of emergency in downtown.
This is on the southeast side of town near Highway 33 and south of Refugee Road. We are showing you 2 views there, one from the ground level, and on the left side of your screen there you can see traffic backed up. Again, an active police situation happening there this evening. You can see the flashing lights behind the trees and through the trees there on the right side of your screen. I-270 northbound closed at this hour. We will bring you the very latest coming up after the break. Stay with us. We first started hearing about it thinking it was a crash, which could have been involved here. We still don't know all of the details, but again, the major news coming out of it tonight is that the suspect is dead after an officer-involved shooting, but backup of traffic is still happening tonight again at 270 and US 33. So be aware of that. Tonight, we begin with breaking news. We are tracking a shooting investigation in Columbus. It happened just after 10:30 on Ken Ray Drive. We are giving you a live look at that scene right now.
And protesters are back in downtown Columbus for the 3rd straight day. Most are there to protest the death of George Floyd, as we've been talking about today. 10 TV's Stephanie Stanovich is downtown, where police again have declared a state of emergency and closed off streets to non-emergency traffic. Stephanie, what are you seeing? The streets were supposed to close to non-emergency traffic at 6 o'clock. We're a few minutes past that. We just spoke with Bennett. We still saw traffic on some downtown streets. Are you at a vantage point where you can see if traffic is still making its way through there, how this crowd is continuing to grow?
The second teenager charged in the death of a Chillicothe photographer at Hocking Hills State Park is admitting to his crime. Jordan Buckley pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter today. As part of a plea deal, his other charges of murder and reckless homicide were dropped. Buckley and fellow teen Jaden Churches were accused of forcing a log off a cliff at Old Man's Cave, killing Victoria Schaefer. Today, Buckley apologized to her family.
I understand that my actions that day has caused your family's life to change.
Churches accepted a similar plea deal earlier this month. Both are now set to be sentenced in juvenile court. Some of them tell us their claims are denied either without clear explanations or their claims are on hold because of fraud, leaving them months without money. So as 2 people explain, they just want answers and resolutions.
I don't want to be on unemployment. This is not something that I'm wishing for.
We reached out to the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services to try to get some help for Bradshaw and Alm. A spokesperson for ODJFS tells us the department is expediting Bradshaw's appeal, and she should receive an answer in a few days. We'll check back with her on that. Now, as for Alm, ODJFS has not yet responded to our questions about his case. We'll follow up on that too and update you when we can. And if you or someone you know does have issues with unemployment, you can send an email to 10investigates@10tv.com. Columbus Public Health opened vaccine registration for everyone older than 16, but within a few hours, all of those appointments were filled. The next phase of vaccinations starts Monday. If you do need an appointment, be sure to check your county health department's website for any cancellations. Well, it may be challenging in some cases to find appointments, but we are still seeing those numbers go up and up when it comes to vaccines.
I think that if everyone gets vaccinated, then we can move toward more normal. Yeah.
And we're all ready for that.
I'm ready for that. I'm ready to travel.
Well, we want to hear from you about your why in getting the vaccine. You can go to our 10 TV Facebook page or use the hashtag WakeUpCBus, and you may see your comment tomorrow morning on our air.
There's always another side.
I think that's one of the most important things we can be doing right now is hearing and talking and engaging the community, because as we can see, there are many opinions on various sides of this, and there is some overlap, I think, as well as in this, Andrew. I think there are many people who say, I can understand the officer having to do what he did, but there's still this tragedy of this lost life. And I think there's a division. You think you have to be on one side or the other, and in this case, perhaps you don't. Meanwhile, Governor Mike DeWine is telling Ohioans that if we do drop to 50 COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people, we will lift all of our health orders. Yep. Thank you. And we do know the criteria needed for the governor to lift the COVID-19 state health orders. We've just been telling you about those. But if that should happen down the road, will individual counties and cities keep their own mandates in place? Well, we sent 10 TV's Lindsay Mills to get those answers today. Lindsay, what did officials have to say? Now, phone calls started pouring in to 911 dispatchers, both from shoppers and those working at the mall. Police also released a body camera video from 2 officers who were the first to respond.
I don't know. Here's my son. Okay.
Well, police are still looking to identify the 2 suspects you see here. We have more on this story, including the hundreds of audio files from 911 calls, coming up at 6. Now to our facts, not fear coverage of COVID-19. As we prepare for another weekend, cases are holding steady, but hospitalizations are dropping. The Ohio Department of Health reports more than 1,700 new cases today in Ohio, but only 87 new hospitalizations. That's the second straight day of hospitalizations below 100. And when we look at our 14-day moving average for hospitalizations, you can see we are dropping again after seeing a plateau.
You may have heard the hashtag Dayton Strong. Well, this year it is hashtag Dayton Shines. There are online ways to get involved, submitting pictures for a mosaic. There also is an online video that will allow folks to observe 9 minutes of silence, one for each of the victims killed. Of course, that deadly mass shooting 1 year ago today ripped apart families. The people we talked to say that even 1 year later, the pain is still fresh.
A lot of it was overwhelming. A lot of it was just, it was a weird sensation of a lot of noise.
And I do want to mention that today it's been really nice to see the folks coming down, because I made a couple of trips up here ahead of this first anniversary. It was very quiet here. The business is still struggling here with the COVID-19 pandemic, so many were unsure about how folks would choose to honor and mark this day, but lots of folks coming out to offer their respects.
Right now trending blue, but they went red back in 2016, so it will be very interesting. Of course, we know Ohio is a big state to watch. It is a historic day for so many people today, including Senator Kamala Harris. Well, Yolanda, we're going to be answering your questions throughout the evening, including this question with our medical experts. Dr. Husel, do you have any answers as to why?
No comment.
Is it fair that you're walking out of jail today?
No comment again. Sorry.
Do you have anything you can say to the dozens of families who are hurting right now?
I'm going to have no comment for all your questions. You'll have to talk to my lawyer.
It turns out his lawyer was nowhere to be found, so we did an entire loop around the block with William Husel. Do you plan to maintain your not guilty pleas?
Yes.
Do you feel you are not guilty?
Yes.
We went back into the courthouse through security and back outside again. Dr. Husel said that when you got here, he said his attorney can speak for him.
Nope. No comment. Thank you.
Anything you can say to the dozens of families who are hurting right now?
No.
Any explanation you can give on behalf of the doctor?
Not right now.
When you say not right now, when will that be?
Well, I imagine there's going to be a trial.
Well, first, let's talk about Johnson & Johnson. That's top of everyone's mind this weekend. What should we know about this new vaccine? Well, new this morning, Women's History Month is ending. But before it does, there is a special event this week in Columbus to highlight Black women. Black Women Rise Poetry Collective with Barbara Fant is happening this Wednesday at the Lincoln Theater. And we have Barbara Fant here live with us this morning to talk about the event. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, you mentioned that 16 women will be on stage all together. Is there a collective message that you want to be sending with all of the women coming together? Absolutely.
True joy. Thank you.
Speaking of that event, the Black Women Collective can be enjoyed in person or virtually. Now, in-person tickets are sold out, but you can still purchase virtual tickets at LincolnTheaterColumbus.com. Now we want to send things over to Mackenzie for a check of our forecast. Plus, make sure you check those clocks this morning. It is daylight saving time now, so we had to spring forward, which means you lost an hour of sleep. Well, Mackenzie is saying boo over there. We've been asking for your take all weekend on daylight saving time. What do you or don't you like about changing the clocks? You can weigh in on this conversation by texting us at 614-460-3345 or using the hashtag WakeUpCBus. Good Sunday morning, everyone. 7:01 now on Wake Up CBus Weekend. I'm Brittany Bailey. We want to check in this hour with the person who was just booing from afar, Doppler 10 meteorologist Mackenzie Barr. You are not loving this time change this morning.
Baja, who let the dogs out? One hit wonder. What's your favorite? Who let the dogs out? Remember that song?
I do. Can you say it one more time, though? Wait, one more time?
Who let the dogs out?
Okay.
There, I did it. You want me to do it again? This is
I'm
my
not gonna
last
stop you
broadcast,
now.
ladies and gentlemen. Who let the dogs out? There we go.
I'm going to ask who
Everyone's
let Dom
looking
out.
at me weird here.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Most of my days.
That's right, chilling out.
And relaxing all cool, and I'm shooting some b-ball outside of the school when a couple of guys who
were up to no good
started making trouble in my neighborhood.
You got
I
one little fight.
And my mom got scared. She said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air."
That was all right. All right. So we'll have the Fresh Prince reunion when we'll come back.
Well, you probably still have some Easter candy stashed around your house, but maybe you also have some of those dyed eggs still taking up space in your fridge. Well, I have a way to use them up and serve up lunch today in this week's Brittany's Bites. There you go. How cute is that? It took just a few minutes to mix this all up. You can use up those dyed eggs, and then you don't have to let your Easter go to waste. Cheers.